Kyrgios is a man of many talents. From giving Djokovic a hard time to tricky serves and entertaining between-the-leg shots, he knows it all. But the man isn't perfect, and we seem to be seeing him in the news more for his emotional outbursts and less for his achievements. But Nick has finally spoken out to all the backlash he gets, and he thinks fans don't know what he's been through. Let's find out more. Starting off with Nick and his most recent statement. This emotional statement came from Kyrgios right after reaching a huge career point. After all, landing in a Wimbledon final is no short of a feat, and he should be getting every applause for doing that. He was finally on his way to the top to get that Wimbledon slam, but unfortunately, Djokovic showed up and gave his best, which led to Nick ending up with the silver plate instead of the cup. The fans then had tons of questions for him about his performance. Plus, not just that, but the people interviewing him were also curious to see how he'd defend his aggressive behavior on the court. He said that for his first Grand Slam final, he thought he produced a terrific performance. He also went on to add that he'll try to manage his emotions better the next time he's in the middle of a huge final like that. He believes he would have won the final against anybody except Novak Djokovic based on how he served and how he performed in the match against Noel. We agree with that as well. The man did put on a hell of a performance, that too against Noel. And in true Kyrgios fashion, he then left a comment that had the crowd scratching their heads. People who criticize him, he said, don't understand what he's gone through. Okay, that sounds understandable. And then comes the confusing part. The man said that people often tend to mistake his self-confidence for arrogance. But how does it justify your shouting at the chair umpire or at your friends and family in the box, Nick? Plus, he has pre-match nerves and anxiety too. He even said that he felt pretty nervous before the final with Noel, which kind of explains some of his behavior during the match. But of course, some of it was just outright mean. On the day he made it to the Wimbledon final, he said that he was pretty disappointed since Rafa had to withdraw from the tournament because of an abdominal ailment. He even added that he was looking forward to a face-off against the Spaniard. Plus, along with the disappointment of not getting to play the semis, he also felt a lot of anxiety and nervousness right before his final. The 27-year-old had never made it beyond the quarterfinals of a Grand Slam singles final before, despite being rated as high as number 13 in the world at one point. So the nerves are kinda understandable. And so the Aussie very openly told the world that he had butterflies the night before the match and that he even slept horribly. And here's some more of Nick's views on his struggles. It didn't come off as a surprise when he said that fans could never gauge all that he's been through. And we say that considering how vocal he's been the past couple of years about his battle with anxiety. In a candid social media post about mental health, he detailed his struggle with severe depression and drug usage. So according to him, a dark period in his life overlapped with the 2019 Australian Open, and he was suffering a lot back then. And mind you, this was the first time Nick had publicly talked about his struggles. Coming from a man as aggressive as himself, it was quite a surprise, but it only goes to show how we can never know what someone might be going through. He added that he had been taken to self-harm since he was suffering so badly. A photo of Kyrgios working out with a caption saying how most people would think he was doing okay psychologically or enjoying his life, but in actuality, it was one of his darkest moments. He even added that there had been times when he had self-inflicted wounds on his right arm, and while talking to his IG audience, he said that if you look attentively, you might be able to catch it as well. According to his post, suicidal thoughts plagued him, and it was a struggle for him to get out of bed, much less perform in front of millions of people. And if you thought suicide and self-harm were it, you're wrong. The man had quite a tough time as, according to him, for a long time, he was depressed and using drugs and alcohol as a cover. Plus, he would even alienate himself from those he cared about. Ah, Nick, we're so glad he's doing better now. And in other news, first, Kyrgios talks about how his girlfriend helps him with his matches. The man might be going through some terrible times, but we're glad he has someone he loves by his side. After going public just a couple of months ago about his relationship, he is now speaking about the influence his bond with Kostine Hatzi has had on his game. The Aussie was asked whether finding love was the secret to his game after a second-round triumph against American Tommy Paul. He said that he believes simply being at peace with your life certainly does wonders. He also added that right now, for him, life is going pretty fantastic. His relationship is healthy, loving, and supportive, and they simply enjoy each other's company. The man has been pretty vocal about the magic Hatzi has brought into his life, as he's now constantly speaking of the wonders a strong network of friends and family can do for any player out there. We're glad that he's doing better, but some fans are still questioning his relationship with this current girlfriend. Why? Well, we don't really blame them, considering how he is literally in the middle of a court case for physically assaulting his ex. Things are pretty bad on that end because if he's found guilty, he might face jail time up to 2 years. Fans are even more pissed with all of this because of the reason behind the split between the star and his ex. Apparently, Passari blamed Nick for cheating on her as she came up with photos of him lying with some naked girl. One thing led to another, and now the man's in the middle of a legal battle with potential prison time ahead. Also, Djokovic's coach calls US Open bull-s. Ivanisevic is a man with a lot to say, and he's not intimidated by anyone, not even Joe Biden. Groan. Novak Djokovic's coach has branded the travel restrictions in the United States as bull because Noel is still still unable to participate in the US Open later this month. As of now, Noel's pretty confident that he might be allowed to play. He's so sure of this that he's even preparing for the tournament, but it looks like Ivan doesn't hold the same amount of optimism as the 21-time Grand Slam champion. Though under pressure to loosen such requirements, Joe Biden has decided that non-American citizens cannot enter the nation until they have had all their shots. Djokovic's participation in the tournament is a matter of urgency. According to some, Joe should come out and clear the air about what the future holds for Novak. The coach, on the other hand, is skeptical that Biden will budge. He said that the player would try everything to be there, maybe he would obtain a special visa, but there are only 2 weeks, and the chances of something like that happening are pretty slim. He also added that it's all a bunch of BS to him. He thinks that a lot of people who are vaccinated but test positive are getting the chance to enter the States, so why not his protege? He finally ended his quite unreasonable rant by saying that the sport is riddled with politics. What do you think? Should he brace himself for missing yet another slam, or is there any chance that the rules might budge for his great Royal Highness, who refuses to get the shot? And finally, bad news as Rafa withdraws from Montreal. It looks like the man's down on his luck because he pulled out of Wimbledon first and now Montreal. According to sources, his abdominal injury hasn't gotten any better, and he has no other option but to sit this one out as well. Here's what he had to say about the decision to opt out of the tournament. He said that he had been practicing without serving for a while now, and everything was going well. Then he started serving a few days ago, and it looked all good until he felt some discomfort again, which was there the following day as well. And well, he didn't want to risk anything. You hang in there, King. We're all rooting for you. He also added that after speaking with his doctor, they'd prefer to take things in a conservative way and give him a few more days before starting to compete again. Well, that's that. First Roger, now Rafa, and how many heartbreaks will we have to take? That's a wrap for this video. What do you think about Kyrgios and his recent claims of fans not really getting his struggles? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.